Classical studies at Waterloo is distinctive for a couple of different reasons. We take an interdisciplinary and intercultural approach to the study of the ancient world. It's really the world wherein the ancient Greeks and Romans encountered many disparate other cultures, such as the Persians or the Germans. And of course the history of these peoples is intertwined with politics and war and literature and language and religion and mythology and material culture and all those things. And those are all the things that we cover in our teaching.
Faculty members here are really great in their mentorship of their students. They're always interested in telling you about a literary source that maybe you haven't thought about, or perhaps you should read this author or that author. They're just always there to answer your questions and speak one-on-one with you.
What I think of is the support that we just recently received putting on our graduate conference by the various faculty members. Professor Joshua and Professor Agar were always around the corner to answer whatever questions that we might have had or give us some advice on how to organize particular things. Without them, I don't think that the conference could have been nearly the success that I think that it was.
The world of classical antiquity is very much the parent of the modern Western world. Many of us have a particular interest in the period known as the Hellenistic Age, which is the period between the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC and the death of Cleopatra in 30 BC.
One of the interesting things about the Hellenistic period is that it was a time of rapid change and of cultural interaction. All around the Mediterranean basin there was a movement of peoples and of political and economic powers. And to a large extent what's happening nowadays, the shifting powers around the world, the East-West relations, etc., were anticipated by what was happening in the ancient world.
The defining characteristic that's come to be classics at Waterloo is the Hellenistic Institute. It really is the place to go to study Hellenistic history, Hellenistic poetry, anything that you might really want to study within the Hellenistic sphere.
The Waterloo Institute for Hellenistic Studies is an international network of professors and graduate students who all have either a primary or secondary interest in the Hellenistic period. One of the purposes of the Institute is to bring together people who are working at different universities around the world. It enriches our graduate program in that our own courses in Hellenistic studies are enhanced by the presence of experts in other areas.
Students can work on any aspect of material. They can be course-based or they can do a thesis. And so they really come out of this sort of year-and-a-half program with a very solid base in kind of all the different aspects of what you can do in classics and with classics.
We make the learning as experiential as we can, and so we try to promote actual sort of field experiences for our students. We take them to places such as Italy or Greece. This is a way that the students have of getting real hands-on experience with the actual artifacts, the ancient sites. And it's always a very exciting experience for the students, and it is for the faculty too. I
think that one of the most memorable experiences that I had, and one that I feel that I can really bring forward into other aspects of my life, was when I was a TA for Greek 101. Not only did I get to grade assignments and tests, but I also got to teach a tutorial class. It was really rewarding to see a student who perhaps was struggling with the linguistic concepts early on really sort of master it by the end.
What classics does is teach you a set of skills, but it also teaches you a way of thinking, wanting to look at things from all angles and be able to see them in new and different ways. Whether you're working on an ancient language or you're working on, code or any computer language, the skill set is really comparable. You'd probably be surprised if you saw a list of, who has a classics degree out there in the world, and whether they're Chris Martin from Coldplay, Vince Lombardi, the football coach, J.K. Rowling, very diverse people. But I think the one thing they all have in common is that ability to just sit and look at something and think about it in a real kind of complete and holistic way.
The one thing we are exposed to early on is every faculty member's area of study and their methodology. We are taught how to think critically about what we're taking in, and that is very important.
Classical studies is at its core a humanist discipline, human experience, and the challenge of being human remains very much the same. And that certainly is something that comes out of the study of classical antiquity.